Federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh says he shouldn't have gone to Kendrick Lamar's show in Toronto last week after Drake called him out.
According to sources, Drake's camp tried to get Kendrick Lamar's shows at Rogers Centre Stadium in Toronto either canceled or postponed so they can do OVO Fest there. Now, according to sources, attempts by Drake's camp to have both tour shows canceled or postponed allegedly took place in hopes of booking OVO Fest. However, by then, paperwork with the Rogers Centre had already been filed, and no other venue in the city could hold the same capacity. Now, people were questioning who these sources of Justin Tinsley were. He said, "I wouldn't write it if I didn't get the information from those close to the Rogers Centre. If it ultimately is proven to be inaccurate, then I will cross that bridge when it gets here. That's what journalists do. But I trust my sources highly." Now, I don't think this is a far-fetched story at all. I think people on a certain side of things don't want it to be true, because if that is the case, then said person or said camp failed to get it done, so it makes them look back.
Why are you here?
I'm here to prove that hometown drinking Drake champagne pocket six got to go. And Kendrick ain't coming to my city. Kendrick coming to our city and doing this. We can't.
Why you from Toronto? Are you from Toronto or no?
I can look at that.
If you're from Toronto, you know what? Drake has done for the city. Drake has put on the city more than Kendrick's ever done anything for Compton. His entire big words.
Drake is descending once more. Rumor has it that he attempted to prevent Kendrick Lamar from ever again performing in Toronto. However, everything is getting far messier than anyone anticipated this time. According to sources, Drake became so enraged that he allegedly began berating Canadian politicians for simply showing up to Kendrick's event and dancing to those vicious diss tunes that were directed directly at him. He is behaving as though he owned the entire six and that no one from the United States may enter his city and find love. This is where things get crazy, though.
No American dude is gonna come to the six and claim the six.
The attempt by certain OVO fans to disrupt Kendrick's performance with what appeared to be a full-fledged sabotage campaign was revealed in a recently released document. They made a serious attempt to use a takeover maneuver to disrupt a sold-out concert, but the entire plan failed miserably and became a plain circus.
Federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh says he shouldn't have gone to Kendrick Lamar's show in Toronto last week after Drake called him out.
When Drake learned that Toronto officials were turning up to Kendrick's tunes and clapping in the crowd, he lost it. He went into full meltdown mode, according to sources, calling influential people and apparently threatening them, saying that this was some sort of political turf war. For example, what exactly are we doing? And it is only the beginning of the chaos, as rumors of a covert court battle between Drake and Universal Music Group are already becoming more widespread. This is no longer just petty animosity. It is possible that Drizzy is creating a situation that he will not be able to escape with charm. This is something you really do not want to miss. Let us dive into the mayhem.
The show. And you telling me that he only listened to the scissor parts and only jammed out to the scissor parts? I wonder if there's gonna be some video evidence that proves that he's full of shit.
This time, Drake did not mince words. For simply attending Kendrick Lamar's Toronto event, he directly criticized a Canadian politician, and he did not even wait for Twitter to go viral or for blogs to start talking about it. No, Drake attempted to reverse the trend by sharing the receipts himself in the hopes of avoiding criticism.
Turn your TV off, turn your TV off. So, it probably wasn't loyalty. The reason why he probably apologized was because y'all probably in his DMs threatening him and getting all mad at him because Drake posted it to his story with his millions of followers, and you guys don't know how to be regular fans. You don't know how to take an L gracefully, so you're gonna sit there and get mad at anybody that shows love to anybody that's Drake's ops. But Drake has a long list of ops, so you guys are never going to.
However, it exploded in his face. The entire situation quickly became awkward. In a full-on public insult, Drake shared a screenshot of a direct message he made to MP Jagmeet Singh. He made an effort to give the impression that they had a long-standing relationship, but the receipts did not even come close.
Blue Buckline was being neutralized, so that the only right side that they was right, but we once knew was that the character that now inspired and women just made it degenerate, have been they was feeling this table more. tell the thing gets calculated. How to leave the dick jet made.
Yes, back in 2019, Singh publicly thanked Drake for following him. Indeed, there was a brief mention in 2020, but nothing more. No companionship, no conversations, just a sense of being ghosted. Drake then abruptly enters the direct messages as a jealous ex after noticing Singh grooving in the audience during Kendrick's event.
You working for him next thing? Hey, I Drake really came in a whole drop the location. I still got PTSD. Hey, and like it shouldn't been me in the clouds. I can't really like that in the best work isn't like that. Because I've been like that to the bomb. And finally could ask him.
All he could say was, "You are a goo," that is all. That was the entire message. No build-up, no explanation. Simply calling names as if it were a high school hallway play. Rap conflict is no longer the only thing at stake. Drake is blowing up direct messages like it is war and bringing politicians into the fray. Pump the brakes though, before anyone feels sorry for Jagmeet Singh. People gasped when he clapped back, but not in a positive way. Singh immediately gave up after Drake exposed him, and he made a clumsy apology on his Instagram stories as if he were attempting to win Drake back. And get ready because this is going to be crazy. In fact, the guy claimed that he did not come to see Kendrick. He came to see SZA, as in, huh? I went for S.A., not Kendrick, Singh texted out. This city is where I was born. Real talk, I understand, but I still adore this city. I should never have gone. Drake and OVO have improved Canada and the city. Drake will always be my favorite over Kendrick.
Hilarious.
Mr. Dugbert. We're cooking Saturday and good for $2.
I'll keep on that song. I got a May days on the round on.
Saturday, May 4th.
I don't keep over days. 40p for it. Tough. But I don't keep over days, get it out of Melbourne, I'm in the air.
Okay, does this ring a bell? Drop. 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 Drop, 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 drop.
No, that is really uncomfortable for all parties. What exactly was that? An apology or a fan letter? During Kendrick's act, Singh was seen on camera having a great time. Look, there is no denying that SZA is a queen, but no one in that sold-out auditorium paid for those tickets solely to see her perform. For Kendrick, the entire building was present. After being seen vibrating too intensely, Singh abruptly changed his style as soon as Drake pressed him.
But the other people, see, you go get behind on this here. They count saying now, 7 male, tell them, wait up, hold on, I hear that girl. You be like, I was going to know what I'm doing. When we don't be listening to me, damn, no. Make sure I should come with the front. They come in shot bone and one and get some hand me down. The part is just to put it away with his toes down. Or put the bottom gear face where I get around. Turn by little boy. Why you sounding like a fit, so it's in kind of pouring in the fight.
Fans are already beginning to argue that Singh's apology was motivated more by fear than by guilt. He was seen in one widely shared video vibrating excessively in the crowd, and someone remarked that he most likely only gave up after the OVO troops began to put a lot of pressure on him. To be honest, that notion is becoming more plausible by the moment because of what transpired next. Pure insanity. Just before Kendrick took the stage on June 12th and 13th, one of them boldly called for all 6 God soldiers to flood the Rogers Center on Instagram, and this was no stealthy assault. This was a loud, dramatic, and almost insane post. Get up, Toronto, the fan wrote. Kendrick will be performing twice in our city this summer. This is not just any city though, and we are making that clear before the curtains rise. Drake's city is this one. We are going to exhibit them on the 6th.
According to sources, Drake's camp tried to get Kendrick Lamar's shows at Rogers Center Stadium in Toronto either canceled or postponed so they can do OVO Fest there. Now, according to sources, attempts by Drake's camp to have both tour shows canceled or postponed allegedly took place in hopes of booking OVO Fest. However, by then, paperwork with the Rogers Center had already been filed, and no other venue in the city could hold the same capacity. Now, people were questioning who these sources of Justin Tinsley were. He said, I wouldn't write it if I didn't get the information from those close to the Rogers Center. If it ultimately is proven to be inaccurate, then I will cross that bridge when it gets here. That's what journalists do. But I trust my sources highly. Now, I don't think this is a far-fetched story at all. I think people on a certain side of things don't want it to be true, because if that is the case, then said person or said camp failed to get it done, so it makes them look bad.
They claimed they were going to pull up deep and convert the venue into enemy territory, and they were really serious about starting what they dubbed an OVO takeover. Who could roll in heavy, blast Drake songs from speakers, wave signs supporting the 66, flex the cleanest OVO drip they could find, and bring all the hometown excitement to Kendrick's concert like it was a straight-up turf battle? That was the goal.
I got tickets to the Grand National Tour starring Kendrick Lamar featuring SZA. 2 dates in Toronto. What kind of statement are we making as Toronto broadcasters if we give away these tickets?
We can't do that. As Toronto broadcasters, we cannot give away Kendrick Lamar tickets.
Why? Because it's the end of the tour. It's also on Father's Day. You know all those things Kendrick was saying about Drake not being a good father?
Mm-hmm.
It's a statement. It's a victory lap.
I want to say Drake has put Toronto on the map.
Yeah.
You know, tell us about you. You would never...
I mean, I probably wouldn't have considered living in this city had it not been for the influence of Drake. Like, at the time where I moved here, Toronto was the utmost of relevant cities worldwide. I was like, oh, Toronto? Absolutely.
Drake donates so much to this city that we don't even know about. Helping communities, helping the Raptors. How about the All-Star game here to Toronto? He's done so much for Torontonians, and we are laughing in his face when we're giving away Kendrick Lamar tickets.
What we gonna do?
We're done. Well,
They were not playing around, but it was more fan fiction than strategy. With all this commotion over a few lyrics and a beat, these fans were treating a rap event like a battle for the city's crown. This is where the desperation reaches its peak. To encourage people to attend Kendrick's event, the OVO squad was out here giving away free pizza and OVO sweatshirts, as if it were a mall promotion. They were attempting to buy people into reppin' Drake. But you know what? That night, someone made history, and it most definitely was not Drake or his devoted troops. It was Kendrick Lamar, and he executed it with icy, strategic accuracy. Despite supporters threatening Kendrick's entire team to avoid Canada and Drake apparently attempting to thwart movements behind the scenes, the Rogers Center hosted 2 sold-out gigs back-to-back in Drake's neighborhood. A conquest of this magnitude cannot be scripted. Not only did Toronto come up, they really showed out. Based on overall ticket sales, the city placed in the top 5 best-selling stops of Kendrick and SZA's Grand National Tour. What a waste of Drake City. There on stage, he buried Drake's rap crown. He released 3 of his most brutal diss tracks, not just 1 or 2, Not Like Us, The Ultimate Crowd Killer, Euphoria, and that deadly verse on Like That.
Why are you here? I'm here to prove that hometown drinking Drake champion got the 6 got the GOAT. And Kendrick, somebody ain't coming to my city. He ain't coming to our city and doing this. We can't.
Why you from Toronto? Are you from Toronto or no?
I can look at that.
But if you're from Toronto, you know what? Drake has done for the city. Drake has put on the city more than Kendrick's ever done anything for Compton. It's entirely big words.
It was more fan fiction than strategy, but they were not joking. These spectators were treating a rap event as a contest for the title of city champion. All this agitation over a few lyrics and a beat. The desperation is at its height at this point. The OVO squad was out here handing out free pizza and OVO sweatshirts to entice folks to Kendrick's event. They were trying to convince folks to reppin' Drake, as if it were a mall campaign. But what do you know? Someone made history that night, and it was definitely not Drake or his loyal soldiers. It was Kendrick Lamar, and he did it with cold, calculated precision.
This is 3 weeks doing it. Oh. It's for them, the off for them, for the label and bones. That trees are the most over to it either. Oh, it's about the great. No, I would measure and that is the
That's a lie. You're sitting on God. I get your ass living with the steady ass is high. I hold on your ass something like a crack pack the side. I tell you not get this and must be outside.
The Rogers Center held 2 sold-out shows in Drake's neighborhood back-to-back. despite fans threatening to ban Kendrick's entire team from Canada and Drake seemingly trying to stop backstage activities. This kind of conquest cannot be planned. Toronto not only appeared, they made a big impression. The city was among the top 5 best-selling stops of Kendrick and SZA's Grand National Tour based on total ticket sales. Drake City is such a waste. He buried Drake's rap crown there on stage. He did not simply release 1 or 2 of his most vicious diss recordings. He released 3: Euphoria, the lethal verse on Like That Not Like Us, and the ultimate crowd killer.
Here's the thing. He said you should, and this is what I don't know. And I'm gonna ask Drake. I'm like, Drake, is this true? He says you should have heard the Drake what he was saying to us before we whipped his ass. That's what he told me. I said, what do you mean? Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I never really knew Drake speaking to anybody. Like, Drake has told me he hasn't spoken to Dot directly, but I didn't know about if he spoke to anybody else in and around.
The diss that completely upended the beef was released on the same day that Kendrick released Not Like Us instrumental music. The Rogers Center exploded as that beat landed. Drake's backyard, his own city, became a Kendrick mosh pit. Every savage phrase regarding certified PDF files and those charges of dubious behavior was being rapped by fans like national anthems. It is not just a victory, it is history and legacy, because Kendrick had Toronto, the center of OVO, yelling his diss track. To make matters worse, Drake has never given a performance at the Rogers Center. Back to back, Kendrick did it twice. Drake has never, ever performed on the Rogers Center stage. Drake was powerless to stop Kendrick from performing, but the outcry before the gigs was very crazy. Loyalty in Toronto is deep and petty, and the entire city seemed tense. Let us examine some of the most bizarre incidents that left people in a state of shock. First off, in an effort to remain faithful to Drake, 2 radio hosts from Chum 104.5, Jamar McNeil and Josie Dye, made news by flatly refusing to give away Kendrick tickets live. Yes, this rap feud made Toronto radio a veritable battlefield. However, things became much darker. Top 5, a well-known rapper from Toronto and a lifelong Drake fan, went all out. In fact, he made threats against Kendrick's team on the internet.
Now, Anthony Saleh, he confirms to me, yes, Drake was sending me voice notes talking crazy like he's a mob boss. That's what he says. He says Drake is saying to him, Drake is saying like, yo, I'm gonna done you, like just talking crazy like, yo, Vegas is watch, yo, you guys think you could finish me? Crazy. All of a sudden, they're like, then we drop the bomb, right? Not like that.
Nor did he merely speak. The night before the performance, he and his crew were seen around Kendrick's hotel. That is borderline stalker behavior, not fandom. For example, how far will people go in a rap feud? Naturally, there was also the OVO takeover, which had Drake fans anticipating it like a full-length film for weeks. It wasn't, spoiler alert, but the build-up made the city feel as though a big thing was going to happen. However, that so-called OVO takeover proved to be a complete failure when the big day eventually arrived. In an attempt to spin it, organizers claimed that the cops had shut it down. Let us face it though, the event was a complete failure due to the low turnout and lackluster atmosphere. Drake silently took that loss and backed out, seemingly ending the war there. However, things took a turn for the worst at that point. Rumors that Drake was not merely working behind the scenes to stop Kendrick's performances are now circulating, and they are coming from some reliable sources. According to reports, he was acting like a real mafia boss. According to rumors, he spent months intimidating Kendrick's team off the record by leaving them threatening voicemails. Furthermore, the origin of this explosive was not random. DJ Academics made the allegation that he had a direct conversation with a member of Kendrick's inner circle. AK claims that during the feud, Drake was surreptitiously sending out insane voice messages in an attempt to get Kendrick's group to back down. Here's what makes it even more bizarre. There was no indication in the public eye that Drake ever contacted or replied to Kendrick directly. Not a single action. Drake, however, completely retreated from Kendrick. No more exertion. Quit smoking. Nothing. However, Drake chose to sue his own label, Universal Music Group, rather than retaliating against Kendrick or even the authors of those lines that went viral. Yes, you heard correctly. Drake is essentially claiming that his team permitted Kendrick to disparage him by allowing those diss tracks to be cleared. Fans, however, are perplexed. There is no hiding those ominous whispers if they are brought up in court. What transpires in that courtroom could give the story story a more sinister twist. It all boils down to one big choice from here. The judge had the option of ending the matter altogether or allowing it to proceed into the dangerous area. Document dumps, deposits, and perhaps even subpoenas that might bring everything to light. If that occurs, Drake's situation may quickly become very real. Now, a federal judge is in charge of his entire case, and the entire business can be seen in the courtroom. Will Iceman be a desperate cover-up or the ultimate comeback? Leave a comment below with your opinions. We want to get your thoughts on all of this craziness. Remember to subscribe, like, and share so you do not miss what comes next. This is not the end of the narrative. I will see you at the following one.